The Blue Jays win. Been a while since we've said that. The Blue Jays win, the Blue Jays win, the Blue Jays win. A big one over the New York Yankees as they downed them 4-2 and moved to 13-13 on the year. We're going to get into the recap in a minute here, but first make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It'll really help us grow and get out there. So, tonight we had a Jose Barrios versus Cookie Carrasco matchup on the mound, and I know what you're all thinking. Pitching duel, right? Yep, that's what we got. I'm sarcastic, of course. I expected us to get through on Carrasco like most people did, and unfortunately, you know what? The offense just didn't show up again for the early going. It was a pitching duel up till the third inning. That was when the first real scoring chance was, as Volpe lines out, Wells singles, Cabrera singles. So you've got Grisham and Judge coming up with two guys on, one out in the bottom of the third for the Yankees. And you're getting a bit nervous here. Grisham grounds into a fielder's choice to first base. Cabrera to second, Wells out at home plate. He was thrown out on a nice play there. And then you have Aaron Judge coming up after him with two outs and runners on. And we got him to ground out to third base. So Jose Barrios did a really good job of getting out of it. And then the wheels started falling off a little bit for the pitching in terms of you started getting some walks, you started getting some base runners, but still no runs scored. All the way up until the sixth inning when Hill comes in to pitch for the Yankees and Guerrero Jr. leads it off with a home run. So he gets the third pitch there. He has a 1-1 count and hits a home run off of a sinker, 88 miles an hour, pretty much center cut. And he knows what to do with it as he sends it 412 feet to left center field and making it 1-0 Blue Jays. Santander grounds out, Springer grounds out, and Jimenez grounds out after him. But the damage is done. It's 1-0 and we're feeling pretty good. Barrios is still cruising at this point. He gets Goldschmidt to fly out and then walks Bellinger, and they decide they've seen enough there. So in the bottom of the sixth, they go to Brendan Little, who's been lights out for this team so far. Bellinger gets thrown out stealing from Kirky. Chisholm singles, and then Chisholm gets caught stealing from Kirky. So Kirky really came up clutch there, getting two caught stealings, and really kept the Yankees off the board single-handedly there. And as Little gets out of the inning and keeps it 1-0 Blue Jays. In the seventh, Hamilton puts us up, 3 up, 3 down. We're out of it. And then in the bottom of 7, Little's still in there. Volpe doubles. Wells flies out to center, moving Volpe up to third. And then Cabrera, unfortunately, singles to left, scoring Volpe. So, it's a 1-1 game at this point. Jimmy Garcia comes in, walks Judge, and then gets Rice to foul out. And it's still 1-1 through 7. In the 8th, Cruz comes in, shuts us down, and then in the bottom of the 8th was where the controversy was. I had just flipped on YouTube, and I saw that Gate 14 was streaming, so I popped in there right at this time, actually. And there was a heated debate going on, both on the podcast and in the comments, because what happened was Jimmy Garcia gets Goldschmidt out, and he was up at 13 pitches with a couple of lefties coming up, and they decided to go to Mason Fluharty. I had no problem with this. I was actually on Team Avery on this one here, but I totally get where the other side are coming from, the people who wanted to keep Jimmy in. My thought process there is I think people are sleeping on Fluharty a little bit. I saw in the comments a lot of people saying Fluharty sucks. He's been terrible in low leverage. Why would you give him a high leverage spot? And I don't think that's completely accurate. He hasn't let up any runs since that first game against the Mets. He's got a 2.25 ERA. And he's been very effective at getting, lefties out. That's what his specialty is going to be long term in the major leagues if he sticks around. And I've thought he's looked really, really solid. He just doesn't have that blow away stuff. So I think that people sleep on him a little bit. But anyways, it says here Bellinger doubles. This ball had a literal 99% catch probability as George Springer. It was a big swing by Bellinger, and Springer breaks backwards and runs back towards the wall before slamming on the brakes and then kind of jogging in, and it hit in that triangle between the right fielder, the second baseman, and the center fielder. And Springer was kind of trotting in, looking at right field, looking at second base, wondering who was going to make the grab, and it ultimately landed maybe 5-6 feet in front of him. It was a very bizarre play. Terrible jump by Springer. And then the way that he just kind of trotted for it and gave up on it was also very bizarre, as though he thought someone else was going to catch it. So it says Bellinger double, but he didn't touch it, so it won't be an error on the outfielder, but it was definitely a ball that should have been it was a routine fly ball, basically. Anyways, with that out of the way, Chisholm then walks, and then Volpe gets hit by a pitch with 2 strikes. The camera, the replay, it didn't really look like he got hit, but I don't think there was enough to overturn it. You couldn't see the ball change direction or anything like that, but the call on the field was that it scraped his leg, so they didn't change that. Either way, a bit of tough luck there, but obviously you don't want to be walking 2 guys and ultimately make the bases loaded in that situation with 1 out. Wells hits a sacrifice fly, scoring Bellinger, making it 2-1 Yankees, and we were feeling pretty defeated at that point. And then Cabrera flied out to right. So really, I know it's not perfect, but Fluharty did get 3 pop flies if that first one, hadn't been absolutely botched by George. And he already came into the inning with 1 out, so he should have been out of it well before. But that's how it goes. That's baseball, right? And the play-by-play or the box scores don't always fully represent what happens on the field when you're watching it. But yeah, that's how it goes. Top of 9. We're feeling like the game is over, but luckily for us, Devin Williams has forgotten how to pitch this year. His pitches look fine. It's actually kind of bizarre that he just cannot get anyone out this year because everything looks pretty good. Like his changeup still looked pretty good and all that. But anyways, Springer leads us off with a single to left field. Jimenez is then hit by a pitch, which was pretty crucial. Let me check that. It was with 2 strikes. I thought so. And he got hit with a fastball. So kind of let us off the hook there a bit, putting 2 guys on with none out. And then Alejandro Kirk hits a line drive. And just the way this year's been going, just Kirky's been up so many times with runners in scoring position and hasn't come through. When he hits this ball, you think it's getting caught, you think it's going to be right at the center fielder, you think it's going to be a wasted at bat, something like that. And this ball just kept on carrying, and it goes over Grisham's head in center field. And Grisham is a good center fielder too. Over his head, scores both of them, and it was actually kind of comical because Jimenez had caught Springer, so they kind of crossed home plate together. They were about 2 feet apart. It was kind of funny to see. Anyways, makes it 3-2 Blue Jays. Leiter comes in, Heineman comes in to run for Kirk, and then Leiter comes in to pitch for the Yankees. Barger then shanks one down the left field line. Heineman's able to score on it. And again, that's just a baseball in a nutshell right there. Barger's been hitting 100-mile-an-hour line drives right at the outfielders, gets an out. And then this one, he just shanks and slices it down the line and gets it to drop and gets an RBI out of it. So yeah, that's baseball for you. Straw runs for Barger. Clement then flied out, Lucas grounded out, and Bichette grounded out. So it stayed 4-2 Blue Jays. You would have liked to add on more there, but the way Jeff Hoffman has pitched this year, I don't think anyone was really that concerned at this point. Grisham grounds out to start the bottom of the 9th. Judge strikes out swinging, which was huge. He made Judge actually look really bad, which I don't think anyone has really done this year, so that was really impressive stuff to see out of Jeff Hoffman. Rice got a double to make things interesting, and at this point, most of the Yankees fans I saw, they were already walking out of the stadium. I'm sure some of them turned around to at least watch after this, and then Goldschmidt popped out a lazy fly ball to the second baseman where Jimenez was able to put it away to end the game. So yeah, really entertaining at the end there. It was pretty boring leading up to kind of the 8th and 9th inning, as it was just kind of a rinse and repeat of the previous games where the offense couldn't get anything going. I'll have a quick look at the box score just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Bichette 1 for 5, Guerrero Jr. 1 for 3. He had that big home run. Santander still looking awful. They've got to shuffle him around somewhere. I'm not worried about him long term, but just do something to try and get him into a different headspace. Like, I don't know whether you want to flip him and Vlad for a game or move Springer up or something like that. Just give him a different change of scenery for a game or two, just to try and spark something. Jimenez, 0 for 2. Kirky, 2 for 4. Barger, 2 for 4. Good day out of him. Clement went 0 for 4, but his defense was really solid. He made a couple nice plays in the field, and I really, if none of our third base options are going to hit, I at least feel good with Clement's fielding at third. So yeah, I'm okay with him. And then Nathan Lucas went 2 for 4, and he's really picked things up. I've been a bit of a defender of Lucas. I think if you look at his longer track record, he's always hit in AAA and he's always hit in the majors. He's not going to be a home run hitter. He's not going to be an all-star bat or anything like that, but he's got a long track record of being at least kind of a league average hitter, and I think that's ultimately what he is. He's got his OPS back up to almost 700 now for how bad he started. I think that's probably where he lives long term. I don't know if he's getting sent down. I don't think anything's been announced yet with Varsho coming back, but honestly, if him or Barger were sent down, I think Barger's probably done enough to earn his keep at this point, just because he's showing some signs. He's got the arm out in the field. I think they'll probably lean his way, but if they do lean Lucas, I'm okay with keeping Nathan Lucas in as a bench piece, especially with Varsho back and with Springer in the field and all that. And it could even be Alan Roden that goes down at this point if he's falling out of favor. And just for, not to give up on him forever, but just go and get resettled and kind of get your groove back on at this point, because he's having a bit of a rough go as well. On the pitching side of things, Jose Barrios, 5 1/3 with no earned runs, 4 Ks. Great stuff out of him. Went up to 89 pitches. is what you want to see out of your starter. Brendan Little, been lights out all year. He had the 1 earned run, but I mean, I feel very confident with Brendan Little that he's not going to throw away a game for us. Jimmy, 2/3 of an inning, 13 pitches, had a walk. That was it. Flaherty, like I say, 1 hit, a walk, a hit by pitch. That hit, iffy to me. That's on George Springer, but he didn't pound the zone enough, and that's something he is going to have to correct. But ultimately, I think that the fans are going to have a little bit more respect on his name by the end of the year, because he's been very effective for us. And even with letting up the run today, he's only at a 3.1 ERA. And yeah, I think he's a guy that by August, I think we're all going to be quite confident with him in there. That could be a bad take, but that's how I feel things are headed. And then Jeff Hoffman, just been elite, like the definition of elite. Him and Jimmy Garcia both, that 1-2 punch is just unbelievable to have, especially coming off of last year when the bullpen, as we all know, was so bad. So, yeah, that's what I thought of the game today. Let me know what you guys thought. Were you guys watching along? What did you think about that call in the 8th inning to go to Flaherty? Were you pulling your hair out like some of the fans in the chat there were, or were you okay with it? Let me know. Anyways, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.